there is no direct way to access data that was not read by the authorization check. And the setting for reading the data is made in the report at the initialization processing time by the variable or the statement pnp underscore sw underscore skip underscore partner, which is set to n. Now this option is only available for the reports in the SAP DB PNP data logical database only. Now a report that runs evaluations by person number generally works best if it can read all data requested on the personal number concerned. However, it is possible and it can happen that the evaluation for a certain selection period would be possible, but not for a longer selection period. So normally the logical database always selects the data of an info type and checks the authorization. Now, if you want the system to read and check only the data of the selection period, then you can use the statement at the start of selection time. You can use the statement rp underscore set underscore data underscore interval for doing this partial data authorization. Now this is mainly concerned with the reporting for HR reporting. So this is mainly to do with ABAP programmers, not from a security standpoint, how it works internally. The object P underscore ABAP is the one that simplifies the authorization check for HR reports. So for this object, in the field you enter one or more report names and a degree of simplification in the field COARS course, and a check is used to use for the reports concerned. Now you can use the relevant authorization from this object to control how the HR master data objects, that is the P underscore origin and P underscore org xx and any other customer specific authorization object that you would have created for P underscore NNN are used in the specified reports to check for the HR info types. So P underscore ABAP goes along with P underscore origin and P underscore org xx to control them, and also with the customer specific objects, so to control the HR info types. You can also use reports to control the info type authorization check. Now this can be useful for functional reasons or to improve performance. For example, when you do the payroll run, the performance may get affected. So you can use the combination for controlling the HR info types using P underscore ABAP along with P underscore origin, for example. Now the performance of the report set, runtime of the corresponding reports. So that is when you use this object P underscore ABAP. Now for this object, you enter one or more reports in the report name field, rep ID field, and the degree of simplification that the check is to use for the reports concerned. If you regard certain HR reports as uncritical with relation to access protection, then you enter the corresponding reports in the report name field and star in the degree of simplification field. For example, this way. So consequently, no other checks except for the check on the s_program authorization object will be made. So p underscore, if you put in simplification field, if you put star, then for in p underscore abap, no further checks would be made. So the next check that the system will do is whether to find out whether the user has access to execute the program or not. And execution of programs and reports is controlled by the authorization object s_program. Now, if the runtime of the payload driver is very long due to the large number of personal numbers to be processed, it makes sense to switch off the authorization check to improve performance. So let's say the evaluation of the log changes in the info type data are subject to info type authorization checks. So the person who starts this kind of evaluation normally has extensive info type authorizations. So in this case, it makes more sense to assign the user a global authorization using the program or the report RPUAUD00, that is for log changes to, this report is for log changes to information types data, rather than to check the individual data. Now to do so, you can use an authorization for the existing object, that is p_abap, that has the value RPUAUD00 in the report name field and the value 2 or star in the degree of simplification field. Now the payment medium programs in accounting process are extremely sensitive and contain give access to person related data. Now, as an additional security measure, the system checks whether the user has corresponding authorization for the existing authorization object and checks whether the user is authorized to start the program. In this case, for accounting using payment medium programs, the program name is RFF OD, I think it's 2_NU in the report name field, and you enter that program name in the report name field, and then in the simplification degree of simplification field you can enter 2 or star. So, and performance improvement in accounting, the program that the user would need access to would be RPCALCX0 in the report name field, and in the degree of simplification field you put either 2 or star. So these 3 programs are very useful for improving performance. One is for accounting, other is for log changes to info type data, and the other is the payment medium programs. So this was a brief overview of the authorization object p_abap and how the reporting works in HR.